Hi, I'm Liz Cully, and welcome to a special episode of Cool, Cool, Cool. In this series of episodes, I chat with cool people about parenthood. From my fears of getting pregnant to selecting a donor to how to juggle a career and a family, we talk about it all, and nothing is off limits. I was looking for a podcast that represented more of what I experience in the world, and I couldn't find it, so naturally, I decided to make it myself. So, welcome to, I guess, an adult version of Cool, Cool, Cool. I can't think of a more, I would say, famous reality lesbian than Whitney Mixter. Even though I've obviously had Mal on the show and there's others that have come after, the first true famous lesbian on reality TV, Whitney Mixter. She had a very healthy career of creating community events and through all these like parties and really brought people together, I would say all over the country. Definitely people really wanted to sleep with her. I think she's beautiful and has great energy, but alas, Whitney, you and I are friends, and I think that's what we were meant to be. Which is maybe why I can keep it cool when I've interviewed you. I don't know. I used to watch like just women lose their minds around Whitney at the club when I first moved to LA. I didn't know I didn't have TV because I was poor. And she was on a Showtime show, which you had to pay for that. You know what I mean? So I had kind of I didn't really know exactly who she was, but I knew she was on TV. But I will remember, and I haven't said this to her. So also, if you're listening, Whitney, here you go. I remember I think it was at Here Lounge. And or maybe it was the Abbey. I don't know. It was one of those. Oh no, you know what it was? It was the place across the street from the Abbey that was like 2 levels. I don't know what the name of it is. I think the club has changed a couple of times. And the flock of lesbians losing their mind around Whitney. And I'm like, who is that? Like, what's happening over there? And this girl I was with at the time was like, oh my God, that's Whitney Mixter. Like, she's so hot. Like, everyone wants to fuck her. Like, she was on The Real L Word and she dated everyone and broke everyone's hearts. And I'm like, huh. And then actually, I think that's when I met Rose that night. Rose Garcia, who's the best. Anyway, that's it. I didn't go up to her that night. Treat them mean, keep them keen. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I'm thrilled to have Whitney on the show today. Whitney, we get an update in her life journey. She seems like such a calm, cool, collected parent. And I really wanted her advice on all of this. She also went into parenthood. She did have a partner at the time, but she'll talk about how, she really was the kind of sole primary parent. And I think that's really admirable. And I am in awe of that. And what an incredible decision to make and how sound and strong you have to be to do that. And yeah, she's an open book. And I was thrilled to talk to her. So I was a nanny in the Bay Area for 10 years.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was in my early...
What ages were the children?
Well, all over. I mean, the last 2 that I watched, I love their parents. They're like my older siblings. Mm-hmm. Riley was a year when I came on, and then Charlotte was born. So I was there for everything. Oh. Also, I really, at the time they were married, I wanted them to go on vacation, and they left me with a 6-month-old and a 1.5-year-old alone.
What?
It was fine.
Oh, good.
But I was like, whoa, this is work.
I'm just shocked that they left. Yeah, it's work. I'm just shocked that they left you with that's how much they needed work. They're like, no, this is fine.
It was fine
because parent. And I'm sure, I would have all the faith in leaving my child with you too, but it's just the mom guilt, parent guilt, the fear of, but at some point it takes over the desire to just have a motherfucking moment.
Well, yeah. And I just, the best part was I desperately needed a shower. And when they're this little, because I know Mecca's 2.5.
Just turned 3.
He just, how did that happen?
I don't know. Every day I can't believe I'm a mom. I'm like, what? Am I going to pick up my child from daycare?
Yeah, you are.
And I'm like, do people know I'm a parent, right? I'm going to take this kid because it's my kid. Nobody's got questions. I still wonder. It's just very surreal.
I mean, yeah.
I love it.
Best thing you ever did?
Best thing I've ever done. For sure. Hardest thing.
I mean, whoa. I can't imagine. Yeah. I like that. That's why I'm scared to have a kid. Yeah. I'm scared. I mean, so that's a great example. There I was 23 23 years old, 24. I have 2 little kids. I'm in San Francisco. I'm like, I just remember desperately needing to take a shower, and I needed them to take baths. But like, one is a kind of a blob, and the other one is like running around. Like, I can't go to the bathroom by myself. And so I put them all, like one of those like Talkit things.
Yeah.
I put Charlotte in the shower. I'm like cleaning Riley. I'm in a bathing suit. And it was just like the one slippering around. I'm like holding her down with a foot. It's a lot. It's juggling a lot of balls in the air, especially, you know, when they're so little. Like,
my God.
Mecca's not like doing the dishes. Maybe soon.
I think he'd be down.
You think?
He likes to help. And he loves cooking. He's really into cooking. Like, he makes pancakes with me. He flips them.
Oh.
Yeah, he like cuts things. He seasons. Teaching him all about the
importance of seasoning.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have unseasoned
he likes
food.
to do things. I mean, I think we don't give kids enough credit for like the amount that they can accomplish. Like, I've got him fully employed. He's doing my laundry, my taxes already.
So I said this off camera before we started to record, but I'm pretty sure when you and I recorded the last time you were pregnant and you didn't appear, it's not like you were, I think you either were trying to get pregnant.
Right.
Or you were pregnant. It was March 2020, right before the pandemic.
Jeez,
which is insane.
Louise. I mean, yeah, if that is the case.
Were you pregnant?
I was in fact pregnant. Yes.
I knew it. Because we were sitting there and it was just your vibe. Maybe it was a question about parties, which we'll get to in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like so
You're like, you want a shot? And I was like, ooh.
No, I actually don't.
Ditch it.
You know what's funny? I don't drink on podcast. I don't drink when I work. So, you know, outside of that. But I think I said something like, how are you feeling about partying or dating or whatever? And you're just like, nah, I'm good. And just your vibe, you left. And I remember sitting there and I'm like, I wonder if she's like trying to have a kid or she's pregnant.
Right.
And you were.
I was. By that point, if it was March, I got pregnant in January. I conceived January 18th, I believe. So I was 2 months pregnant.
What was the process for you? Like, I'm going to have a kid. Like, was it a light switch? Was it something you had been thinking about for a long time? Like, how did it all? Let's like go way back.
Yeah. Let's go back to the inception, the preconception, inception. I mean, I always knew I wanted to be a parent. Like,
sure.
That was an immovable piece of my life that I knew was going to come at some point, ever since I was young. And I didn't know how it was going to show up or when. And I had hit all of the markers that one would normally hit when you're, in life, when you're like, well, I'm going to wait till I'm married. I have been married. We all know. Like, I'm going to wait till I'm more financially secure. I had had financial highs, like I had hit those, they had come and they had gone, and I still didn't have a child. And, I'm sure this occurs also in the heterosexual world. I don't know. But, I think in the queer community, life gets away from us even more because it's not like we're going to have any natural, like, oopsie daisy moments.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like before you know it, you don't realize your proverbial clock is ticking or has ticked out. And we don't do enough to really empower, women or childbearing people to be proactive about their fertility health and know what their baseline is and how much time they have. Yeah. And so for me, to answer your question of like, when did I know? I had made a statement to myself and a declaration kind of to my friends. And I said, by the time I'm 37, if I don't have a partner, if I'm not on the path, like, I'm doing it on my own. And I hit 37 and it was go time. And I had just met somebody, I had met somebody, we were dating. I told them on the first date, like, this was my journey. And, I think I'm very proud of myself in this because despite what other influences there were of just like life and maybe thinking like, oh, I'm going to give this an extra chance and prioritize this, I stuck with it because in my gut, I knew that there was a child trying to come through me. Yeah. I really did.
Yeah.
And it was true.
Well, I'm 38. Oh, I wish I started earlier. I got married literally right before the pandemic, like literally right before. And I think, you said something my wife says all the time. She's like, us queer people, like we take a little longer sometimes.
Yeah.
Like life kind of, I wasn't ready when I was 26, 27, like a lot of my heterosexual friends, to be in a long-term relationship.
Right.
I was out there in West Hollywood bucking. I
know. I was creating the rodeo that you were bucking in. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to facilitate that rodeo.
I was like out in the streets.
Yeah.
I was really, and I was also figuring out my queerness. I was figuring it all out. I was like out, but not really. I was a late bloomer in that sense, an early bloomer in legitimately every other sense of kind of life, but that part. And so it took us a while. We were together for like 5 years. And then I'm like, are we getting fucking married or not?
Right.
Got married. And then I had said, we got married and I was like, okay, let's like, same thing. We are so not financially stable. Like we are living in a 600 square apartment in West Hollywood. Like let's stack, let's save, let's work on our pandemic. Right. And I felt like it really had, thank God you got pregnant in January.
Oh my. Yes. And when they say you're never ready, you're never prepared, you can never be prepared. I feel like, to be honest, I was like, even though I'm doing this solo, I feel like I'm preparing as much as I can in this moment. I had orchestrated all these events, major events lined up. I timed them perfectly. I timed getting pregnant kind of with that in mind, thinking like, okay, I'll go through spring season events, summer events. I'll finish up during Pride when things are really like my biggest moments. And then that's when I'll kind of be showing to a point where I should probably call it for the season, And then it was like, just kidding. All of your work is canceled. No finances at all. And it's just like, you got to make it happen. I think it was my first test in parenthood was before he even came, earth side, if you will. It was like, you need to figure it out.
Yeah, that would be pretty stressful.
Yeah.
I remember us texting. You're like, do you think this is going to happen? Like, do you think things are going to open? And I was like, girl, I don't know. I'm supposed to go to the Oscars and this shit is not happening. Like for real, you know? And I think also maybe that's when I sort of had an inkling that you were pregnant because we were talking about energy exchange at these events. I am terrified to go to your events. I really am. No one's going to talk to me. I'm just going to stand there. I don't know anybody anymore. I know like a few people. I tell Rose Garcia this all the time. She tried to get me to go to my first Dinah this year and I wanted to go because they were honoring her and like what a badass she is and all the things she's overcome. And I was like, yo. And even Mariah Hansen.
But if you go with Rose in general, if you're standing next to her, she's the best facilitator of like, camaraderie, if you will.
I know.
She will just get you in there.
I just was very nervous to do that. So I didn't go. I wimped out and I feel badly about it, but she might give me another time. Who knows? But I still haven't gone to Dinah. I haven't gone to Dinah adjacent. I haven't done any of those things in my life. I'm like, 38, is this the time? Perhaps. But I think the energy exchange of those events, that's like hard. I mean, you really have to, it's like loud. Motherfuckers are drunk. You're like, everybody's like, Whitney, I've wanted to fuck you. And like, are you single? And like, TV, let's party, dollars. Like, I don't know. I mean, how are you able to show up for that now as a mom? Like, do you have the energy?
No, because I don't. I retired.
You did.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
I mean, here's the thing. I made an announcement. You must have missed that post.
I did miss the post, clearly. I'm really up to date. I love watching all of your parenting with like empathy and kind of.
No.
Those are the ones
here's
I
the
watch.
thing. So I kind of slipped in. It's not. It was a slip. I slipped in my low key retirement, and I had a couple caveats. So basically,
you're like money.
Yeah.
Time.
I have a couple like things, like events. I'm probably still going to be doing Kool-Aid, which is for San Francisco Pride. It's like one of my favorite parties to do. And I love SF Pride and there's a couple other things, but yeah, this year on my birthday, I really made the decision that for the most part, this isn't for me anymore. And it's best for somebody whose passion is really in it and who's actively tapped in with like the youngins, if you will. And it's not even an age thing. It's just like energetically, I've started a really new path. And my goal is to take all of the experience and all of the connections and all of the resources and all of the passion that I have in those events that I did and kind of graduate it up to where we're at now. Like, you know, I'm 41 and a lot of my peers are the same age and they're looking to get into becoming parents, or they have kids, or they want to pursue, you know, healthier options. And no shade to going out. I still will go out once in a while, but it's like, for me, I want to promote something that's more of my lifestyle now. And so I've really hung my head up the majority on those events. And I'm getting into, producing more family-centered events and health-conscious events. And I'm back in school. I'm studying to be an Ayurvedic practitioner.
That's amazing.
I'm like really into just health and wellness and making sure that I am the best example for my son as I can be. So I have to embody that really myself, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be, even though Sexy Red is really out in the streets, pregnant as fuck, talking about bap, 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 her baby daddy, which I'm very, very here for. And wonderful. She is also a youngin'.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way. Like, we have really, really close friends that live near us in Glendale. One of their sons, she has 3 boys under 7.
Oh,
Just take that.
Yeah, no.
And we go over there and it's like WWE wrestling. Yeah. I mean, I love them all so dearly. The youngest one, I'm his fairy godmother. I could inhale these children. Yeah. But we had this whole conversation the other day. It's like, she can't be fucking like going out, drinking hella, being hungover. Like, you can't, it affects you also differently as well. Like, I can't do the same thing. I was texting with a dear friend of mine. Like, we grew up together, gay boy, like very different. We're on very different paths. And I was like, babe, I have like 2 glasses of Cabernet and I'm like lights out.
Right.
He's like, no, you're not. You're at all these parties. I'm like, I am producing those events, which means I am exhausted. Like, I'll say it right here because we talked about the Oscars the last time I was in this room. The Oscars, I was so tired. Yes, it was cool, but you guys have to understand. I sat there at the end of the night with Wolfgang Puck and I was like, does anybody have a Diet Coke? And he was like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a different thing. So I was curious because, you know, for me, it's energy exchange. I get really, it's like
major.
You know?
I mean, I think people don't realize how much, it's not just showing up. It's the conversation exchange. It's the loud music. It's the drinking. It's like, it's all the things, and it really zaps you. And, you know, for me, producing these events was really important to me for so long because I really wanted to authentically create safe spaces for our community, for, you know, marginalized groups, for different sectors, you know, and really create celebration in it. And it was amazing, and it is amazing for what I still do. And now I think it's time to like really also focus on making dope spaces for the next generation. Those people that came to my parties, now, like, what are you looking for? Like now, because it's, I mean, and if you're going out still and doing all that, more power to you, like, to each his own. And that's great. I support you. And I think it's time to also offer alternatives for people who still want community, who still want spaces, who maybe still want to have a cocktail, but don't want to be in that environment necessarily. And like want to do it with their kids. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was going to say. Please make some events on the east side that are cool that I can like bring a kid to.
Oh, I'm working on a kid-centered festival of sorts with a beer garden though. You know what I'm saying?
I just like kids. All right, before we dive into like some serious things, I've spoken about this before on a podcast or two. I like really can't fuck with Kids Bop. And I also think that it's not right. I think that taking a song by Lil Wayne and making it like children focused is not right. Like Baby Beluga, great song.
Yeah.
Keep it as it is. I would even argue Lizzo gives Kid Bop. Could we not like, I don't know. I don't need to hear like anything from Drake that's made into a children's song. Or
I don't really need to hear anything from Drake. For me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Personally.
I was just
I mean, maybe. Yeah. No,
fine.
I agree.
You know, back that ass up. I don't need it to be back that truck up or back that toot toot train. Like, leave it as it is.
Yeah.
Can't do the kids
I
pop.
agree. And I think that there's also enough music that's actually, I mean, I think you can find a nice blend of kids music and adult music that kids, because when I grew up, I listened to a very wide spectrum of
I'm sure
music.
it was the same as me. It's like I grew up listening to Janet Jackson. I listened to
I listened to like
jazz.
Sade and Motley Crue. Like there was a spectrum going on there. And I'm not saying that that's what we'll be playing, but I'm not saying it's not.
Sade, I feel like, is universal.
Sade is one of my son's favorite artists.
Great.
By far.
Actually, a band.
Yes, right.
Sorry.
Right. No, that's true.
Not to be like that person.
Right. No, that is.
Sade is the band, not the person. But yes.
Yes.
Honestly,
although she also is. Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's confusing.
But I agree. Thank you for that. That's true.
No, you're welcome. Well, I hope that, who knows, knock on wood. I mean, this is what I was.
You know, Sade has a trans son?
I do know that. And they live in Laurel Canyon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And a lot of things.
He's very attractive.
Fine. It's Sade's child.
I mean, yes, it is. And
yeah, I'd be like, what's up?
Yeah.
Holler at me. Just kidding, I'm married.
Yeah.
Whatever. We'll see. I don't know how rules will flow as we get older. I know how stressful it is for Rachel and I right now, even looking through sperm donors.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, who is not exactly the best in any of this, unfortunately, calls me the other day and she's like, I just don't understand how you're getting pregnant. I'm like, well, I'm going to go to a bar. I'm going to drink a couple of hurricanes.
Right.
Like, get out of here, dude. Like, what are you fucking talking about? But
and just have it be like Russian roulette. See what comes out.
Well,
Not
yeah.
10 months later.
But
when I black out.
The process is so different because when heterosexual people have a relationship or they fall in love or whatever they decide to do,
mm-hmm.
you don't have to be in love to have a kid with somebody. And not to like sound all traditional.
Right.
But you don't like go through genetic testing. You don't read a fucking profile. You don't, I mean, it is so overwhelming. How did you start that process alone? Did you have a group of friends and family that helped you? Or like, how did you know sort of what you wanted ahead of time?
I don't know if I knew what I wanted ahead of time, but I didn't have a group of people either. So I started just with curiosity, kind of exploring different people and different genres of people. And I mean, the person I was seeing at the time, we started kind of looking through things together, but it was not established the involvement level if this person was going to be involved or this and that. But, but she definitely had, I would say, input because it is overwhelming. It's like very, how do you choose? I mean, how do you choose? And so eventually it just got to the point where I kind of narrowed it down between some people. And first I chose somebody, and I actually had gone to, what did I go to? Initially I went to a different sperm bank.
Okay.
And I chose somebody and they had an adult photo and I got it, and it's like, I think I chose them based on the adults. And what I like about Seattle is they don't have that.
I know, even though I do appreciate when a donor slips in like a 7 or 8 year old photo.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you. Because sometimes they just give you like when they're blobs at 3 months old. And I was like, baby, that ain't going to, that's a baby. Right. That's not going to tell me anything, exactly.
But the first donor I chose, he was like a very attractive adult, and I don't even know if I listened to the audio. Something happened where I was just like, yep.
Yeah.
And energetically, I knew it was not going to happen. I just knew as soon as I got it, I'm like, it's not going to work. I just knew it wasn't going to work. And it didn't take the first time. And then when I went to Seattle, they'd only have baby pictures, children's pictures, whatnot. And as I was going through, I saw the picture of my donor as a child. And I don't know why instantly my body was like, we're compatible. I knew genetically our genes were compatible. And I knew
you have the cutest kid. It is pretty
I'm not
compatible.
trying to toot my own horn, but he's pretty
I'll toot. Mecca is like, he is so cute.
Yeah, he is. And and going deeper into this donor, I think for me, the moment of yes was not only feeling, because I think something really can happen in you if you really allow yourself energetically. We're talking about energetics. If you energetically allow yourself to be open to the process, and you feel, it's almost like muscle testing, you know, like have you done muscle testing before where you can hold like sweet and low and like, you know, I feel like there's something similar to that can take place in your body when you're looking through them, and your body will say a yes or it will say a no. And I think when we see adult pictures, which is why ultimately, even though I wanted adult pictures, I appreciate not having it, because I think that it removes the actual energetic reaction, gut reaction to the energy of the person, because we're conditioned to like, you know, identify if we're attracted to the person, if we're this, if they are dressed well, if they have good physique, you know. And my body really reacted to seeing this child. And then when I listened to his audio recording, which I appreciate that they have, they're very in depth,
which they're wild, by the way.
They are, and they're very entertaining. And this donor had such a unique sense of humor that I loved. He was very dry. He's super smart. And I was just like, this is going to be a yes for me. This is it. It was the humor for me, for sure.
You know, what's been interesting is I've been listening to a lot of donor audio recordings. All these people like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, wow.
Every single one.
Wow.
And that is a really big hurdle for me. Because I'm like, what? Like this one guy, I thought he was so great. And he's like, well, I'm very into RPG games or something. I think that's how you, like role player, tabletop games. I was like, what the fuck? This guy's a dweeb. But he has a computer science degree and he tested well on his SATs. And I'm out here not really being able to afford private school. So I'm like, standardized test. Hope you do well.
Right. So wait, this is the person you chose has this?
I haven't chosen anybody. I was saying I'm back to square one because some snafu.
Yeah. See, I think for me, things that rang for me were curiosity, humor, and his humor was very dry and like off the wall because he had like this, I was reading between the lines and he had this natural curiosity for life. And he was really honest. He was honest about why he, you know, joined onto the program. And I like that. I don't like it when people are like, I don't know. You can just smell it when they're trying
One of the guys I really liked, the one I was telling you about earlier that I have to wait a bajillion years. They were like, why did you do this? He's like, well, I'm 20 years old and I need the money. And also you like provide me health, you know, opportunities, X, Y, and Z. And he's like, and like, why not? I was like, you know what? At least that's a normal response. Not like, well, you know, like anyway, yes, I agree.
No, exactly. And that's the thing. They asked him what in the interview, I think they asked him what his favorite food was. And he's actually plant-based, which I appreciate because I am as well. But he was like, when they're like, what's your favorite food? He's like, I don't know, free, to be honest. Like
he said, free, I'm dead. I'm dead.
Free,
yes.
Like
thank you, donor. 25,
but he was
32.
like, he's like, no, I mean, I got to be honest. I'm in college. I'm in the military. He was like in the military or something. I don't know. I'm like just telling all the details about my donor.
It's fine.
Tune in to siphon through. No, he's actually not on the menu anymore. But yeah, it's like, it's a long process. But I feel like when you know, if you just like allow yourself to be guided. Kind of, I don't know if that sounds corny, but I feel like there is a natural guidance and your body just kind of does a natural selection. Same as, you know, when you're trying to conceive, your body, pheromones and reactions. I mean, there's real chemical reactions that take place. So it would only make sense that this in some capacity would happen.
Yeah.
Virtually, you know?
I have a friend from the Bay Area, very interesting woman, very, very accomplished. Also, I don't know if she's queer or not, if I'm being honest with you, which is interesting. I think she might be, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But she and I were talking about some of the work that I do with trying to move non-binary and queer women into office with LPAC. And she's really fucking cool. And I asked for a call with her and she was like, oh, Liz, like, you're like getting up to 40, right? And I met her when I was in my early 20s in San Francisco. And I said, yeah, I'm like, 38, whatever. She's like, I had a kid by myself. I said, I saw that, I think, on the good old Facebook, whatever. She's like, I had a baby by myself at 45. I go, really? And she's like, do you want any like advice? I'm like, I'll take advice, whatever. Mm-hmm. She's super cool, Burning Man, like so Bay Area, like lives in Oakland, like love her. Mm-hmm. Was like, yeah, like tell me. And she's like, I masturbated every day for a year. I did not drink alcohol and I stopped hallucinogen. I think she'd had like a hallucinogenic program that she was into. I stopped partying. I made peace with my mother. And like, I think she like exercised 4 times a week. And I was like, huh, interesting. And she said, I think the main reason how I got pregnant is that and she did it at home, which is wild. That's like a whole nother thing I've been learning about people doing it at home. She's like, I had my homeboy come over, do the thing, kicked him out, masturbated, got myself pregnant at 45. No fertility doctors would see her. That's dope.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's dope. That is dope.
Dope.
And it's dope that she did a very holistic approach, like total package, like did the mother healing, did all the things. You know what I'm saying? That really opens you up. I did a 7-day water fast, and I swear I feel like it 1,000% contributed to me instantly getting pregnant.
Whoa,
I did it right before.
What's a 7-day water fast?
Yeah, it's that.
What do you mean?
Just water. So
I just drank water?
Yeah, for 7 days. Yep. And it literally, when I say, so I did it in December. Yeah, before, and I got pregnant in January. I did it in December. And, there was, it was challenging, but also by day 4, you're just kind of, once you get past the real rough parts, which there are, but you realize it's so mental. And so just consumptive and time, it's about like your time and where your time goes and your focus, because you realize you eat so much just for something to do. So much is centered around it. But I think on day 4, unexpectedly, 10 days early, I got my period, like just out of the blue. I didn't even know it was coming, but triggered it. It basically reset my entire hormonal system.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did you do that in preparation to get pregnant, or
I just knew. I just had a feeling. I had done smaller water fasts before, like maybe 3 days, 2 days.
I love that you call them fests, as if it's like a fun. Because
fasting.
Oh, fast. I thought you were saying fest, like festival, no. And I was like, Whitney, like
water festival. I'm just like,
yeah. I was like, damn, what are we on the slip and slide? Like, what are we up to over here? Because I've done things like Prolon, which I do not recommend. It's definitely,
what is that?
It's like some fucking eating disorder bullshit. It's like you don't eat.
Oh, no.
You eat soup. I've done every diet like that on the planet. I've juice fasted. I've done all that.
Yeah.
And you're right. It is mental. Day 4 is when you're like, I'm giving up. And then you kind of like go over this plateau.
Yeah. And then you
keep going.
You're like levitating everywhere you go, probably because at least you think you are, because you haven't eaten in 7 days. But
correct.
I mean, it's you realize you also just, you have to go inward. You have to like face some things. You have to, it forces you to kind of do the work you've probably been avoiding in some capacity, because you're like, what else am I going to do?
Yeah, you
can't watch TV, because if I watch TV, I'm going to want to snack. I can't like work out on a high level. I just walked everywhere. I just did a lot of walking, a lot of reading, a lot of napping, and a lot of fantasizing about food.
I mean, so much fantasizing about food.
I would just sit in baths all day long. But it really worked. I mean, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And I've done it since then. And yeah, water is life. I'm now really on the Kangen water tip. Kangen water.
What kind of water?
The Kangen water. It's like basically like the best water system that you can get.
Oh, did you have that put in your house?
Yeah, I have it.
That's what Rachel wants. She knows all about that.
Oh, I got you if you want.
She does. I want it. Maybe okay. All right. I'm down for the water.
It really changes I'll tell you. Don't get me started on
Are you a water sign? When's your birthday?
I'm a Leo.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And Mecca is
he's a Scorpio. Double Scorpio.
Wait, can I tell you something? Even though I don't know, I know I'm not going to be able to get pregnant in January because I'm switching doctors. It's like a whole fucking thing. That's the other thing. This is
wait, because what I don't know if you want to share this.
I can. Right now, I've done all my testing. That's the thing. I don't know.
I have my doctors I go so hard for them. Kind body.
Oh, you do go kind body.
Yeah, they're like family to me now. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk after this. I'm switching because I wasn't feeling where I was going at first. It felt real factory vibes. I was like, nah, this ain't it. And they weren't like anti-queer. That's the thing I think that people don't realize. And that's why I really wanted to have these conversations on my show, because my audience, I have a lot of queer people that listen to this show and they listen to the last show, but I have a lot of not queer people that are just interested and cool. And it is very different. I have so many heterosexual friends that have had fertility issues or not had fertility issues. And even where I'm at, the things we have to think about are totally different, like intake forms. like they're like, your partner needs to feel, and I'm like, it's a woman and she's not. They're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, but don't you want, you know what I mean? It's like little things that people just don't think about. So water, I don't want to do a water cleanse. Don't tell me I need to do a water cleanse. I have to do a water cleanse. I mean, that sounds fucking crazy to me.
You don't have to, but I swear that it worked for me. I don't have clear factual proof, except I do have a 3-year-old child that was conceived right after on the first time.
Did you do IUI?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, IUI. And it was like, boom, right after that, it was go time.
They're basically like, do IUI, you're only 38, but my AMH levels
so why are you considering IVF?
No, not yet. I was going to.
Or you're saying instead of like or are you saying like they want you were thinking about doing IC?
Did you do IUI at home?
No, you can't do that.
Yeah, no.
It's intrauterine unless I was all.
No, I know this one lesbian couple in the Bay. One of them's a nurse.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was like,
you got to go through the cervix.
I know. I'm not doing that shit.
No,
that's fucking what?
They did it at home?
I think she did. Like stuck it whatever.
Because you can do ICI.
I'm not doing no ICI.
ICI you can do at home.
I know, but
it's essentially a turkey baster.
I know, that's what my friend did up in the Bay.
Oh, so they didn't do IUI.
No, I have another Bay Area friend. They did IUI at home because she's a nurse. Okay, and I was like, that seems fucking out of control.
Yeah, I mean, IUI, I feel like is the way to go. I think. I mean,
you got pregnant on the first time you ever did IUI.
Yeah, well, the first time I ever did it was with the other donor that I knew wasn't going to be it.
Really?
But then the first time with my successful donor, yes. I mean, the first time with the donor that I chose that is now, yes, first time, boom. Bango,
that's so lucky.
Yeah.
That's so lucky because usually they say it's like 5 or 6 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was first time. And I didn't know if my body, that's the thing. I had never been pregnant before.
I've never been pregnant either.
I didn't know if my body was going to be like, what's this stuff up here? Because, like, it's not like I had a lot going on. It's not like it had a lot of experience. I didn't know if my body was going to be like foreign substance. It turns out it was like, we've been waiting for you.
See, that's what I think. I mean, I've never been pregnant either. So I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be like, here you are.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah. Wow. So interesting.
I mean, I think I know a water fast might not sounds
fucking awful.
Right. It doesn't sound great. But if you think about it, what do you have to lose except your sanity for a week?
Well, and like 10 pounds, which I mean, I am never mad at that. Yeah. I just like need my brain.
Right. But
that's what I worry about.
I don't know. My brain started working at an extremely high level after day 4, like higher. Because I also was fasting from, I was being very mindful about what I was putting in my body energetically, like in visuals and things like that. I wasn't like on social media like that. So it was like very cleansing. And I was reading a lot of fiction because it was allowing me to go into a world that was not my own because my own wanted a snack.
What kind of fiction? Like science fiction?
I read, like fiction. Like I read The Celestine Prophecy. That's what I read during my fast. And it was the best book to read.
Of course you did. I thought you were going to say like The Alchemist, but Celestine Prophecy, that also tracks so fucking hard. I'm dead. I'm dying. I think the last time I read Celestine Prophecy was like sophomore year of high school when I went to school in like Western Massachusetts and I like was like listening to Mama's Gun, Erykah Badu on rotate. And
you're like listening to Ani DeFranco and reading this.
You know what? Prophecy. I never listened to Ani DeFranco.
Wow, and you're living in Massachusetts?
I know, but I was on some like Erykah Badu, Mama's Gun shit.
I mean, I was too. I'm like, I've seen Erykah Badu 11 times now in concert.
Really? That's more than me. 7.
Yeah, I'm on 11. I just hit 11 this past.
I saw that. I did see that on your Instagram, and I was like, shit, maybe I should roll.
Amazing.
So, what is it like? Are you currently in a relationship now?
I am, yes.
Okay.
I am. Mm-hmm.
But there have been moments when you've been a parent, you've been like single.
Yeah.
What is that like?
Yeah.
Like dating whilst having a baby.
So strange.
And you're like well known.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was so weird. Because the thing, and I don't know everybody else's experience, but for me, it hit especially strange in my soul and psyche because the thing was, okay, I didn't know when to start dating. Also, we were in the pandemic, coming out of it, all the things. And I wasn't like out. It was hard for me to get out of the house because I'm like in the pandemic. I'm single. Don't have family support out here at all. I have amazing friends, but was very isolated. And so it's not like I could just call with it or ask my mom to watch them or whatever. And so I started going on dating apps, which I never thought I would do. And
that must be hard for you because one, the dating apps for the queers, it feels like a small pool.
Right.
And like, let's be honest, it's Whitney Mixter.
Right. Yeah.
Was it a lot of fans?
Yeah.
First?
Well, the funny thing is, I went on Hinge and I was just curious because I was like, I was just like, let me just do the scroll thing. And I was on Raya for a while and I just couldn't with Raya. Like, Raya?
Of course I know
Raya. And I was like, if I see one more tribal marker on somebody's forehead, and I am a hat wearer, but if I see one more hat thing with the flowing, I can't. And there's very
I'm
little.
surprised about that from you. I'm surprised that you were like, I can't anymore with this. Because
Raya?
Just like the hats
it just
and the
felt
flowing.
very curated because it's not, there wasn't diversity, first of all. I need like real people. It felt very white. It felt very like curated with things. It felt very
it's Raya. It's like,
and I was like I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, it's like burning the awful
That's
parts
what I'm
about
saying.
Burning Man.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, so I was on Hinge, and I swiped on somebody, and he was Mecca was about 10 months old at the time, and we matched and whatnot, and it was weird for me because I didn't know how. First of all, I didn't know how I should introduce him. Like when we went out and this and that, I was thinking I'm gonna wait a while. Like, no, that's not what happened at all. Like our first date got canceled because I got COVID, and then she wanted to come by and drop off a birthday present. It was around that time, and she was just gonna drop it off. Whatever. I had my son and everything, and she ended up coming in. I didn't know. I was like, "Do you want to come in?" So she came in. So she met him within. Talk about like lesbian speed. She met him within the first 5 seconds of meeting me. And she sat there and we talked for like 4 hours sitting on the floor. And it was great. But the thing is I was breastfeeding at the time, solely breastfeeding. I didn't really even pump. And I was a mom and I'm like I consider myself a more masculine of center person. And like, I tend to be like, I take like the more like Zani kind of role in relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm the more dominant, I guess. And it was weird for me having to figure out in real time how to play both roles.
Yeah.
Because I was really tapped into my feminine more than I've ever been because I was a nurturer. I was a mother. I was breastfeeding. I've never been attached. I've never identified with my chest ever. And this was the first time because it was so utilitarian that I was able to do that. And I was really comfortable with it. But that being said, it was like, when I'm like here trying to essentially have a first date with this girl who's very feminine, you know what I'm saying? Also, it turns out she had never dated a woman before. And it was like,
Whitney.
Yeah, she doesn't, but we're still together.
Oh, you're still together now?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we took some time off in the middle, but we're together. And she had never been in a relationship with a woman. And it's like now it's a woman who has a new baby who was well known in the queer community. There was a lot of factors, so I give her credit for that. But it was interesting trying to figure out how to, court this very feminine person and be like, still have like a little swag game that I was trying to get back and still have like a baby hanging off my tit. You know what I'm saying? Like that was weird.
Yeah, I don't know how one does it. Hence I asked. I mean, how do you feel like your sexuality has changed or has it changed because of that tapped in feminine? Like, has it changed things for you?
I don't think my sexuality has, no, because it really, I definitely got back into myself, but I feel like I've really spent the first couple of years of his life more in my nurturing than I have been ever. I mean, I'm a nurturer. Like I'm like very tapped in with kids and animals and I like taking care of people, but just like trying to be in like a softer place. And now I can feel because he's now, and it's so interesting because it's like, you don't want to go into ascribed gender type of roles.
Sure.
But, I think that for me, I see an important importance also in like really stepping into my masculine energy too for him, because he's really giving, I don't know, I hate saying boy energy, but like masculine identified energy. And so I want to be able to support him in that. And that is where I naturally come from anyway. So it's like now I feel myself just kind of going with what he's giving me of like where I'm stepping into energetically. And I was able to find that in terms of sexuality, like with my partner getting back in. She's like very supportive of, she allowed me the space to really explore that and do that and make me feel safe in that. And it was like, but it was weird. I'm not gonna lie. It was such a weird experience because it's like, I'm like, and then I'm like, hey girl.
I know. Well, that's what I mean. I think, and I don't think a lot of, parents who are, using their bodies to feed their children talk about that enough.
Yeah.
Like it is this utilitarian thing. Like I'll be out with tons of my friends and they'll like pull out their, and it's not sexual.
No, yeah.
But we're made in this society to think breasts are so sexual.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's this weird thing. But sometimes you want your breasts to be sexual, right?
Yeah.
Or
well,
like
and
whatever.
No, and I don't. I've never been like a sexual, like a breast sexualization person with myself. Like I actually probably at this stage of my life, if it presented itself now that they've served their purpose, I would probably feel good about top surgery.
Got it.
But the thing is, like, then it was like they would be engorged. First of all, they were like prominent, which I had never had like boobs before like that. And they were prominent and they would get engorged. And I had to like relieve that.
Yeah, because it hurts, I bet.
I mean, oh my God. Like the pain, you can't even rock hard. They're hot. It's like a whole thing. And to have to focus on that and like,
it's a lot.
To focus on it and be like, sorry, I know we're in the middle of like a moment, but I need to like milk myself.
Dead. I'm dead.
It's like kind
but
of
it's
a
life.
mood. It feels like it would be a mood killer in terms of like, that. Also, but I think a bigger thing is like attention, like how much attention you give. That was probably the most challenging thing because it's like you want to give this person that you're dating, so much attention and focus and this and that. And it was trying to establish how to prioritize my son because he's clearly has to be my priority, but still make this person feel prioritized. And then still trying to figure out space for myself, which was very hard. And it's a tightrope to walk on. And it was a lot of trial and error and a lot of patience and a lot of like no sleep and just figuring things out. And yeah.
Do you think you'd have another kid?
I want another kid.
Do you want to carry it?
I do not. No, I mean, it's not that I don't want to. It's like, I'm 41. I had an amazing pregnancy, but I had a really traumatic birth experience that was unexpected. And I ended up having an emergency C-section at like the 36th hour of labor. And so, I mean, for me, my partner now, we've talked about having a kid and she's been interested in carrying. And for me, I think that that's a beautiful thing about being in a lesbian relationship, and that if both partners want to carry, boom, you can have one, you have another one.
If she's young, is she younger than you?
Mm-hmm. And she's 37.
Okay, Robin the Cradle over here with, okay.
I mean,
Zaddy's coming through with a young one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's age appropriate, actually.
Yeah, I think that
it's fine. I'm just
I mean, when you break it down, the only time it doesn't feel age appropriate is when you break down like high school time. I'm like, damn, when I was in college, even like
8th grade.
8th grade, that feels weird. But,
whatever.
Nowadays. But I think the thing that excites me about that is that being that I've been pregnant, I know how to, it's a unique situation like that. I feel like a lot of people don't get to experience where their partner has been pregnant. So they know how to best care for them. So I feel like I would be able to care for her on the highest level. And I want to be able to show that and like do that and be like, I got you. I know what you're feeling.
I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, I would love to. And I would love to use the same donor. And it doesn't have to be my egg or something.
Did you buy a bunch of sperm?
No.
So how does that work?
So the donor has tapped out in terms of like families that he can contribute to. But he has sibling donor sperm available.
Really?
Yeah. So it has to just be siblings at this point. But yeah, he's got the goods because I'll tell you, he's had successful. And the cool thing, I don't know if you are, I mean, I'm sure you know this, but I don't know what your feelings are on this. But what are your thoughts on the dibbling? Do you know about the dibblings?
Dibblings?
Yeah.
Oh, where they like meet each other?
Yeah, like, well, because at Seattle, they're all open donors, and they have the dibbling portals that you can
Like
log
go find
into.
people.
Well, so you get, if you want to opt in once you have a live birth, if you want to opt into the kind of like chat portals for the donor, you can. I have done it.
So you can see all of Mecca's siblings.
The people that also opt in, because it's totally voluntary. But the people that opt in, you can see, you start a chat group, and we have had like a private Facebook group, and
my friends who also use Seattle did that.
Yeah, and it's dope. I love it because the thing is, it's like a bonus family. It's like, I want Mecca to be able to see families that look like him and see kids that have had this shared experience, like the same type of thing. I want him to like be able to have that. And so this is like a built-in situation. I feel like with using donors, there's a lot of natural curiosity and questions of like, where did I come from? What is that half of me? What do I like? Do I have other things? And if I can provide him as much transparency as possible, I would love to do that. And I think presenting it in a way of like, this is a really cool, unique experience that you get to have, in your birth, in your life. Like, if you choose to explore it, like, here it is. Here are all these people.
Yeah, I'm down to clown. I mean, I'd have to obviously talk to Rachel about it, but I don't listen. I grew up where both my parents had been married before they were married to each other. I have half siblings.
Yeah.
I love and know their mother very well.
Mhm.
I thought when I was growing up, I thought everybody just like got married a bunch, had kids here and there. I didn't think it was like a big deal. And I actually
married a bunch.
Don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't. I think people are you have different seasons and different stages of your life. And if you have different partners that make sense, like you either grow together or you don't, or whatever. I mean, it always bums me out when people like hate their act. I'm always like, damn, can't y'all work that out like at all? Like, I mean, it bums me out. Like, Rachel just reconnected with one of her like first girlfriends who like lives in Glassell Park. And I was like, come over for dinner. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, you had... And you and I have obviously said the word, a drinking game energy 1,000 times, but I really do believe in energy.
Mhm.
And I think that when you have, that's why when people are like, yeah, I would just be bucket. Like, I think about my early 20s when I was just fucking all over the place. Like, how was I having that energy exchange with people?
Like, it's just alcohol. It's soul sucking energy.
It is, but
I mean, and I feel you because I was in that energetic field too.
I know. I saw you on TV. It was really wild. But you know what I mean? But it is that kind of energy exchange. And so I think when you have that, if you can try, even when we make mistakes, to like somehow be just chill.
Yeah. I mean, Sada and I are like besties.
You know what I'm saying? She has hella kids.
She has all the kids. She has 2 kids. Feels like a lot, probably. But our sons are like little cousins.
Love it.
Like they're together. He slept over their house the other day. I'm friends with her baby daddy, her partner. I mean, her boyfriend. I don't want to say her boyfriend. That sounds casual, but he's great. And our kids are friends. I love them. I'm like, that's Titi Sada, to Mecca, and it's beautiful. It's like a beautiful extended family. Can't wait till Mecca gets to be of age to understand that like Titi Sada and I have like this history together.
He gonna see it on the internet.
He's gonna be like, wait, what?
Even though the kids these days, I was just told that kids aren't gonna be into social media.
Oh, really?
Gen Alpha. I love it.
Really?
I hope so.
Thank God.
I know.
Who told you that? I need to read this article.
No, it was a person who made fun of my digital footprint on the internet whilst interviewing me, actually in this room.
Wow.
And was like, you're a loser. You have way too much shit on the internet. I'm like, I don't even really have that much on the internet.
Wait, I have a hard time understanding. So a Gen
Z told me, and actually my goddaughter who's in Oakland and her friend, I just had lunch with them over the weekend. They're like, oh, we'll follow like Auntie Liz on Instagram. They're like, wow, you're really on the internet. I'm like, I know, okay.
But
they have nothing.
With TikTok?
Yes, but I think they watch, but I'm not sure. I think it's becoming less and less. They were explaining to me that like kids that are, I don't know, probably Mecca's age or like a little older aren't going to be into social media.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? Because trends will last like, they have their stages and their phases, but I'm scared to see what comes. What does that mean? Because what comes next? Unless I hope that there's just this resurgence of earth and emergent, like just immersing themselves in the earth.
If I could have my druthers, I would like move to Montana, be around a bunch of animals. I want a farm, or really actually Mexico, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I would go to Mexico. I would like to have 1 or 2 pigs.
Yeah.
I would like to have hell of chickens.
See, I'm the same. I've been like considering Costa Rica. I've been considering Portugal. I've been considering, and it's getting to a very real potential stage now. Because I'm just like, I can't with this country.
I mean, let's see how next year rocks.
What would be preventing
me to do that? Yeah. I think maybe, Mexico, I have family that's been there for 80 years. I mean, I have like a built-in community in Mexico. I could very much go. I think it's like, I bought this house. I mean, I could sell it. I did buy a house. Come over.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Really big, really intense to do that.
Wow.
Especially as like a woman alone. I don't know.
Yeah.
My wife and I did it together, like women. I bought a house. I have a career. I've worked really hard for it, but like, does it mean anything? Unclear. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know.
But here's the cool thing though. I think with your career and things that you do, you can figure out how to do it. I mean, you can do things from afar. First of all, I think.
Well, thank you. Yes. I mean, I would literally want to open up like a restaurant and be like, bye.
That's the thing. I feel like we don't give ourselves enough faith in the whole, if you build it, they will come. Because the thing is, so many people are daydreaming about this out, in some capacity, like breaking through the matrix and leaving this bullshit. And it's very few people that are actually doing it. But when people do it and create communities or, gathering places, people seek out coming to it. So it's like, I feel like you have it in you to be a generator, like to have that.
You.
And I think you should do it. I'm planning on doing it too. Let's both do it. And we can swap back and forth.
Yeah. One of us will go to Spain. The other one will go to Mexico and we'll go flippity flop. One last question. Any advice, as I will be carrying if I can? Any advice for me?
Advice for carrying or advice for parenthood? Or
give me 2, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Oh man. I think for pregnancy. Okay. Well, in the process, I think in getting pregnant and conceiving, I think listening to yourself and trusting yourself. I think I said it with selecting the donor. I said it with when I went in to actually conceive, we're going to do the drinking game thing, but energetic exchange, putting your intention into it and feeling it in you. I really feel like it really makes a tremendous difference. And then regarding pregnancy, I'll do this in 3 stages. Regarding your pregnancy, being patient with yourself and gracious with yourself, because things are going to change and become unexpected. And it's going to feel like there's so many things against you at different points, but really it's hormonal shifts. Like there's real things taking place, and just being present and enjoying all of the weird changes that happen. Because I think pregnancy can be it's so weird. And just sitting in the weirdness and being like, this is fucking weird. My changes are weird. My moods are weird. My horniness is weird. My asexuality is weird. All this shit is weird. And instead of judging yourself, because I think as women, like we personalize it and like we feel like we're like a mess. I don't know. Sometimes it's not as celebrated, like the messy journey that pregnancy is. And I think just sitting in the weirdness and being like, this is crazy, like what I'm doing. And it's so dope and it's so powerful and beautiful, all of the parts of it. I think that would be advice for that. And then in parenting, man, sitting in every moment and allowing yourself grace as much as you can, because it is intense. I've never had more come to Jesus moments, but it is all so worth it. So worth it. I've never done anything as important as this in my life. And it's awesome. And I truly wish you success in this.
Thank you.
I really do. And anybody that's, and parenthood isn't for everybody, but for the ones that seek it out, it's the best decision you can make. I really am excited for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. If you want to watch Whitney and I, please head over to my Patreon. You can watch the whole episode there live. Whitney's great. Follow her on social if you don't already, and throw me a couple of stars if you'd like, and let me know how you like this series.